Oh, welcome to my first video about my coloring book collection. We will start today with Johanna Basford books, Kerby Rosanes books, Tomislav Tomic, Uusikuuu and Rita Berman, and I will also show you all my completed pages in the book so far. And yeah, let's start with Tomislav Tomic. I'm not including Tomislav Tomic books from the mythographic series. I'm just have this two now because the mythographic books I will put in a separate group. Yeah, I have the Sprokjesbos and the Dromenwanger, which I will probably totally mispronounce, so I'm very sorry for all people from the Netherlands for butchering the names. Those are absolutely stunning books and the paper quality is really good. It's a very thick paper. The images are very, very beautiful, but I haven't colored in the Dromenwanger so far. That's still untouched. And I only have done one test page in here in the Sprokjesbos, and I've used pastel chalk and I fixed it with a fixative spray afterwards. I think it was Art Echo watercolors and either I think it was Giorgione metallic watercolors or Magic Flower, but I think it was the Giorgione one, not 100% sure. So yeah, it was just an easy test page for the book to test the paper, how well it behaves, if it bleeds through or not. I mean, a lot of the pages here are single-sided, except for the double pages, but yeah. I like to use pages like that, Wacom pages, Impressum pages, stuff like that, to test the paper. So those are often pages I do first in a book, just to look if it handles watercolors well. Sometimes you have a thicker paper and it still bleeds through, so I rather ruin a page like that than to ruin one of the pages in the book. But now that I've done this was a few months ago, I really want to start to do one of the big pages in here. They are super detailed and sometimes a little bit intimidating because of it, so it will probably need a lot of time, but the books are very beautiful. And I have got the question in the past if I'm open to body colors. I am. You can contact me via email. You find the email in the bio or, of course, via comment in the comment section for the video. So the next, let's take a look at Uusikuuu. She has a few different books. I only have the 3 witches books. She also have a few with a little pumpkin head character. I don't own them so far. I only have the witches books, the Year of Witches. They are a little bit bigger in size than, for example, the books from Rita Berman. You see a little bit, they are a little bit bigger. They are very slim, and the paper sadly is just Amazon paper, a very thin normal copy paper, so I wouldn't work with wet media on those. The good thing is they are all single-sided, so you can work with alcohol markers, for example. You have those 2 girls in different life situations, in a witch's life in the books, and they are just so damn cute. I absolutely love the books. They're so cute. And the artist must be a Studio Ghibli fan, because you find sometimes little parts from, for example, Totoro, like here the cat bus, so they are waiting for the cat bus here. Yeah, that's super cute. I'm a big Ghibli fan as well. So I haven't done anything in Year of Witches or in Witches. Those are the older two Witches books, and then I also have the newest. I think it was released last year, 2023, and I have done a few pages already in here. I've done the name page. I've used Brute Funer wax based, so the one with the black barrel. I have a 120 set. That's what I've used for all of the pages I have done in here, and gel pens from Hybrid, and on other pages also from Guangna. But the Guangna ones bleed through, the Hybrid ones don't bleed through. I like especially how the barn owl turned out, because barn owls are my favorite owls. I had the opportunity years ago by someone who breed them to pet one. They are super, super soft and fluffy. And I've done this page here, like I said, similar pencils, and also those for the stars, those glittery gel pens. The silvery ones are Hybrid, and the black ones are the Guangna gel pens, and you can see that they bleed through. I mean, they are single-sided, so it is not a big problem. And also I always, it doesn't matter how thick the paper is, put a sheet in between a 300 GSM paper, just because I tend to press really hard on my pencils, and I had in the past a transfer from the print from one page to other. On a single-sided page it is not a big problem, but when you have both of them printed, then it can be really a problem. Sometimes you can erase it, but not all the time, so always put a sheet in between. It protects you from various problems. And then I have done this page, and this done we have done on live stream on my Twitch account a while ago. That was chosen by my viewers, and we have already a list of motifs from the book we want to do in one of the live streams. I really need to get a look at how to stream parallel on YouTube as well. So yeah, every Wednesday evening we do adult coloring. That's also the same combination, and I really like how this one turned out. Yeah, they are super cute books. I absolutely adore them. Then let's go to the books from Rita Berman. So first, they're season books. Let's start with those. Normally I'm a person who tries to at least concentrate on one or two books from an artist more. It doesn't mean I wouldn't work in the other books. So if you want to do a body color and it is a book I haven't touched so far, that's absolutely no problem. But I try to concentrate a little bit more on the books, because I'm more on the newer side to the coloring hobby, so I haven't done a lot of pages so far. And yeah, you have the feeling to have achieved more if you have at least 5-6 pages in a book, instead of one page here and one page here, and that's it for the artist. So it just feel better for me. So yeah. The season books are a little bit of exception, because I'm not the person who wants to color, for example, wintry images in summer, because Germany tends to be cold a lot of the time of the year. So I'm happy about the very short summer period we have, and I don't want to be remembered that it will be soon winter again or fall again, and it will be nasty, cold, and wet in weather. So yeah, that's why those books I change depending on which season we are. Starting with Mein Herbstspaziergang, that is how you pronounce the book. I also have a video about how to pronounce German book titles, so if you are interested in this. The fall or autumn book is this. I think the fall and the spring one are the books I have done nearly nothing so far in it. Yeah, I've done this page. I don't like the stripe pages. That's why I try to get it done first thing, and then I can concentrate on the more nicer pages. This one is just done with semi-art watercolors, and the glittery part is Art Echo, the metallic watercolor set. From both watercolor sets you will find review videos with swatching in my review playlist. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out if you want. I know I use those semi-art watercolors a lot because I want to use them up. I only use them for base layering and adult coloring. I never work with them as a watercolor in my watercolor work because I don't like those ones. Those are not good ones. I wouldn't recommend buying them. So that's why I can recommend watching a video before you buy a set to really get the opinion, because even when I use it a lot, it doesn't get, I just want to get rid of it. So same goes for my very, very old colored pencils I still have from my childhood. That's why I have a lot of pictures based with semi-art watercolors and my old colored pencils on top, like the little mushroom here. And those pages, yeah, like I said, I try to, or I often use as a test page, so I have a lot of those. Then we have the summer book, Mein Sommerspaziergang. There I have a few more pages. Yeah, that's another test page, semi-art watercolors and my old colored pencils. This is also semi-art watercolors, and the one without pattern is Art Echo metallic watercolors. The Art Echo watercolor sets, both the metallic and the non-metallic one, I can recommend for people who are on a very tight budget. They are pigment based and they have a really good quality for the super low price you get them. From both I have a review video from the normal and the metallics. Then I have here the double page spread with the sunflowers. I don't own the compilation book, with the title Mein Spaziergang durch die Jahreszeiten, which translates to my walk through the seasons, because I'm not big into compilation books. I'm only interested in those if there are a lot of new pages in it, like from Maria Trolle or Hannah Carlson. There are ones with 10 or more pages additional, which are not included in any of the other books. Then you can get me to buy a compilation book, but not if it's only pages I already have in my other books. And the problem with the season books is you have a few pages in each book which is in the next season or in the prior. I'm not sure in which way around it is, but 3 or 4 pages you have in this book, which you have in another book, and the same goes for each of them. So you already have a few pages double. The sunflower one I know is one of those pages. So I thought I will do one with yellow sunflowers and maybe the other one I will do with another color or so. That's also the same combination, old colored pencils, semi-art watercolors, and I've used acrylic colors from Magic Fly for the background. This is a black which has a little bit of gold glitter in it. It's not very strong. You can see it only a little bit yellow shinish. In the past, a lot of years ago, there weren't any of those flip-flop colors or chameleon colors in watercolors. You only could get them in acrylics. So that's why the reason why I've bought 2 sets of acrylic colors containing some glittery colors, but also some of those color shifting flip-flop colors. And yeah, most of the time I haven't used them so far. Because I'm not so much an acrylic person, but now I thought I can use them up when I want to have a single color background, so that they won't waste away completely. And that's also the reason why I have put in a wax paper, because if you have acrylic on one side, or it's worse when you have it on both sides, it is a little bit of sticky and it tends to stick together, and you can ruin your pages, because I've seen other people having the problem that it peeled off some parts of the paper. So yeah, better safe than sorry, and put some protective, even a wax paper or a put of baking paper. I don't know how it's called in English, the one you put on your plates for the oven. Those work as well, which are cheaper, but those are prettier. But if you are on a budget, they will do just fine. So yeah, that's also semi-art watercolors, not Magic Fly, the Art Echo metallics, and my old colored pencil. You see those Magic Fly metallics are more like pearlescent glittery colors. They're very not very strongly, they are more delicate. They are not super punchy in their glitter, but sometimes I prefer it if it is a little bit if it is not so strong. So sometimes I like colors like this more. So yeah, another of those nasty stripy pages. Yeah, also semi-art watercolors, old colored pencils. That's it. I started with the first one and tried to really put every little stripe and layer it and do a light and shadow, but oftentimes you don't see it very well. It doesn't turn out very well either. So yeah, try to just put some colors on it and be done with it. Also semi-art watercolors, old colored pencils for this little 2 images. Then the winter book, Mein Winterspaziergang. I have a few in this one. This one here is also semi-art watercolor as the base, old colored pencils on top, and cheap pastel chalk for the background. I always fix it with a fixative spray in the end, so it doesn't rub off on the other sides, and it really fixes it very well. So that works great, and it doesn't bleed through in any kind. So satisfied with the spray here. Yeah, and you can work with super cheap old child's pencils. You don't need a lot of expensive products. Oftentimes, of course, the quality is much better. Of of course, but the main thing is you don't really need it. It just makes your life a lot easier, because oftentimes they work much easier. You can work much easier with them. But if you are on a super tight budget, it's no problem. You can do wonderful work with cheap products as well. So that one is also cheap pastel chalks for the background, semi-art watercolor and metallic watercolors from Magic Fly and Giorgione, and some different silver gel pens. And you can see this, yeah, very shiny. And this was my test page for gesso. The thing is, I've seen on so many channels that they prime their pages with gesso, let it dry for a long time, like 24 hours, and then work with watercolors on top. And I tried it and I failed completely. The page here is absolutely horrible. I couldn't blend the colors into each other. All the colors get super splotchy, which I don't have if I just work on the paper directly. It looks like when I was a child. So I'm super unnerved from this result. I don't know why so many people can work with the gesso base and with watercolors on so beautifully. Something probably I have done wrong or so, I don't know. So if you are some of those people who are good with the gesso base, just let me know, because I have a big bottle of gesso now. I have no clue what to do with it, and yeah, it just turned out so horrible. So this is again hybrid gel pen in gold here, pastel chalk, old colored pencils, and semi-art watercolors. That's one of the simple, easy pages. And the same goes for this page. It is just a silver gel pen in this case. And you see here, it is just, that's not pastel chalk, it's semi-art watercolors. It is not splotchy or anything. I have just done it without a gesso base. So I have to do something wrong with the gesso. That's only semi-art watercolors. Yeah, not a nice page. I don't like the color combination. That's also semi-art watercolors, a little bit of pastel chalk, old colored pencils. And yeah, that's another disaster. I worked with watercolors first, then it didn't turn out how I wanted. Then I gone on top of it with the Etu Spica glitter pens, which are super old. And I thought maybe I try to use them, and it turns out even nastier. And now I'm thinking of if I maybe in the future just go over it with a metallic acrylic pen or metallic watercolor, just to get rid of this nasty result here. So then we have the spring book, Mein Frühlingsspaziergang. Also another test page with old colored pencils and semi-art watercolors. And like I said, in the spring book there aren't a lot of pages. I think this one I've done this Easter. Also old colored pencils, semi-art watercolor, and pastel chalk. A little bit of reddish pastel chalk for the background. I think that's it in this book. Yeah, that's it. Then I have the two books, the magnifying books, The World Under the Magnifying Glass, Land Edition and Water Edition. I haven't done anything in those so far. I like them more than the seasonal books, at least so far from the images I've seen. There are a lot of nice images here. But I like the travel books most. Those are my absolute favorites from her, especially the Europe and the Asian book. I like. We are starting with her newest book, Meine Reise durch Afrika. So that's the Africa book. I really hope she's doing a book for North and South America and Australia as well. Really love her travel books. I have done one here a few months ago in my live stream, pastel chalk, the Art Eco metallic for the border, and then I've done the rest with my old colored pencils and semi-art watercolors, and I've used for the sea foam, I've used a gouache, but I thought it is a normal gouache which I can put in a pan and then revet. And a lucky thing is I have tried it because it says only gouache, and it seems to be an acrylic gouache because you can't revet and then reactivate it. So yeah, I can still use it, but have to use it as an acrylic color. And I had to buy another one from another brand, which I really can fill in my watercolor sets, because I wanted one tube which I can put in, for example, my big ceramic watercolor palettes. So yeah, that was the Ubuntu stamp with the beach houses. I've looked up some, because it's in the South Africa chapter, and I've looked up beach houses. I wanted to do colorful beach houses, and I found pictures of beach houses looking like that in exactly those color combinations. So I thought I'd try to do this. And yeah, I've looked up what Ubuntu means, and it's a philosophy which sounds really nice, to treat people with respect, and so that was something I never heard of before. And I think I only have done one additional page so far. What I do like in the Africa book as well are the pre-travel books, pre-travel pages, because you see Frankfurt am Main. Frankfurt is one of the biggest cities in Germany. It's in the middle of Germany, and it has the biggest airport. And because it is nearly in the center of Europe, it is one of the most important airports in Europe, where a lot of long distance traveling is through, and that are some buildings from Frankfurt as well. You have the famous church, you have some houses from the Römerplatz, some of the skyscrapers, because it is also called Main, is the river flowing through the city, and it is often called Manhattan because it's the city in Germany with the most skyscrapers. They are constantly building new ones, and yeah, that is something I like, because Rita Berman is living in Frankfurt. So just that you heard of it, because I guess a lot of people don't know, because about the author part is in German, of course. Oh, yeah, I think I've had it with me in our holiday. Guess it didn't handle the traveling very well. I've done one page in my holiday. That was it, because I thought it was my first time in Africa, and I thought I can't go to Africa with the Africa travel book and not doing a page in Africa. So yeah, I've done those somewhere in the past. That's also the same combination as always, old colored pencils, semi-art watercolors. And I have done this heart from the Morocco area, because Tunisia doesn't have an own chapter. So I thought Morocco would fit best to do. And I've chosen the red for Tunisia because white and red is their flag, and the ochre brown colors for the desert, the Sahara Desert, which we have visited, and the blue for the ocean and for the oasis, the water of the oasis. And there would have been some other pages which would have fit very well, like this one, because we did do riding with camels through the Sahara Desert, or we had the opportunity to cuddle with some fennec foxes. But I had only a small set of 48 colors with me, and I want to have a bigger range of colors and a better quality pencils with me, because I'm not very good at mixing colors with colored pencils. So I didn't want to ruin those beautiful pages because I love them very much. So yeah, this is the only one here. I haven't done so far a page in the Meine Reise durch Asien. I know a lot of people call it Asian, Meine Reise durch Asien, but it is called Asien in German, if you really want to pronounce it in German. I mean, pronounce it however you want. I don't criticize. I just wanted to tell people, because a lot of people say they don't know how to pronounce it correctly. That's why I've done the pronunciation video, but yeah, just so you heard of it. And the last one is Meine Reise durch Europa. Europa is how you pronounce Europe in German. And I have done a few in here, not a lot, but the very first on-stream adult coloring page I've ever done is in this book. I still like it. Where is it? There. From the Netherlands department. We have here the Amsterdam side, and we have here a letter from Amsterdam, and some clocks, wooden clocks, clock shoes. And I've done, yeah, same combination, semi-art watercolors for the base and the background, old colored pencils, and the hybrid gel pen in gold, and some Sakura gel pen for some highlights here for the bubbles. And I must say, I really like how this page turned out. I like the pastel-y background colors and the super vibrant colors of the tulips. And I've done another one here on one of my live streams, and this is the Venetian mask. Also semi-art watercolors as a base and for the background. Over it with some old colored pencils and some different gold metallic watercolors from Giorgione and Magic Fly. You can see when I do a lot of gold, I like to use different colored gold. So I have a more yellowish and a more darker gold used. And I wanted to do a blue gold limited palette here. I think this was my very first. No, probably not the very first, but one of the two first tries of a limited color palette. And I've also used, that's why I have the wax paper in it, some old pearl pens. And I've only put a little bit of color on it and lifted it with a little bit of a silicone brush, so that I don't get too round, so that I don't have problems when I'm coloring the other pages. Yeah, and this is a little bit of sticky. I was lucky that it didn't ruin the paper, so for safety reasons I've put in the wax paper. And this was one of the very first pages, or yeah, this and in one of the Joanna Basford books, my first try to ever use watercolors in a coloring book. Those are only done with the Art Deco watercolors with no additional colored pencils also on top. It's just watercolor. And that was before I realized that adult coloring is a super big hobby on social media, and a lot of people work with so many different medias on it. So that was my first try if I could use watercolors on an adult coloring book. So then let's go to the Kerby books. I do have the Fragile World book as well, but I've bought it just last week, so I haven't included it to my collection so far. It is still somewhere else, but I do have it now. I also have the Animorphia. I have very mixed feelings with the Animorphia book. There are a lot of beautiful pages in it, but there are tons of like every third page is like do your own patterns and draw more of these animals, and I hate pages like that. If I wanted to draw something by myself, I do draw something by myself. I don't want to draw in coloring books. I just want to color in coloring books. I do draw a lot of stuff myself, so yeah, that's why I don't like pages like that, because I'm also not very good with animals, so, or pattern stuff. So yeah, we have here the bumblebees, and then a few pages then we have orcas and crocodiles, and yeah, it is, like I said, it is nearly every third page. Jellyfishes, more fishes, another 2 pages. You get what I mean. It's just so many pages in here, and I'm really, I mean, pages like the orcas or the zebra, you can do just blacken out the areas with the doodles and do a more realistic version of the animals. But on other pages, it is way harder. I mean, here it would work probably, but for example, with, yeah, how do you want to do a realistic one? You would have to completely whiten it with a gouache or something like that. So yeah, it's a lot of work, and yeah. So I have very mixed feelings about the book. A part of the book is nice, and the doodle stuff where you have to doodle yourself, I don't like. Then I have the 2 smaller books, which are single-sided, the Geomorphia and the Phantommorphia. I don't own any of his compilation books. I know he has a lot of compilation books, but like I said, I'm not big into compilation books, especially if I don't get additional pages. So yeah, I have not worked in a lot of Kerby books. I think I've only done so far in the Imagimorphia, because I wanted to get better with my colored pencils first, because his work is stunning and super detailed and intimidating, and I didn't want to ruin the pages in here. So that's why I thought I have to get better first, and I started with colored pencils just around a year or 2 ago. I'm not quite sure. I think it was, oh, why not check? check my little book. Yeah, so a little bit over a year ago I started again with adult coloring, and that's when I started to work with colored pencils. I started to write down all the pages in all the books I've done and the materials I've used, and I started with just putting some washi tape in between, and I wasn't really satisfied with it, so I started to do a little bit more scrapbooking kind of with the washi tapes I have to make the book a little bit nicer. So yeah, and I now write down everything. So yeah, we can trace it. So end of March, I think it was like really the last days of March 23, I started with colored pencils. So I wanted to get better before ruining his stunning books. And they're not so cheap in Germany. I've heard people from the UK telling that they are £5. And yeah, they are around 16-17 euros in Germany. So it's not like I can say if I ruin a book, I just buy a new one, because it's expensive here. And that's why I waited, especially with my most favorites are Mythomorphia, Mythic Worlds, Words Within Words. Those three are, especially because I love mythology and mythic creatures, and so that's totally my type, my theme in some of the books. So yeah, I didn't want to ruin it, and I bought them part by part. So I realized that the newer English prints of the books have super thin paper, because my older ones, they have a super thick paper. You can work very easily with watercolors on it, but newer English prints have a very thin paper. So I tried to get some German copies where the paper is thicker, but I couldn't get a lot of German versions, because there are not a lot of German versions available, it seems. The only one I found was the Mythic World one, and it is at least a little bit thicker than the newer English prints. But then I switched to the French prints. I've bought some books in French, and those have a lot thicker paper. So yeah, if you're buying a new one and having problems with that you think the paper is at least half as thin as it used to be, then try another copy from another country, because the paper is very different depending on which country version you are buying. Like I said, I tested the French, because I've bought the Fragile World in French. I think it was the Fragile World one, and it has a lot thicker paper, and I will send back the English versions which I've bought with the very thin paper. I will give them back and rather buy the French version of the books. So Imagimorphia was my first Kerby book. I have a lot of pages done in here. I have done all the answers. I've done it in totally unnatural colors, because this motif you have 3 or 4 times in the book, at least parts of it, and I thought then I could do a silly version. And it is again semi-art watercolors and pastel chalk and old colored pencils. Yeah, that's another of those pattern sites, and as you can see, I didn't fill in any patterns. I just thought I make some beautiful colorful feathers, just using the semi-art watercolors, no colored pencils on top for those, just on the already pre-doodled one. And I've used some washi tape to do some borders to get a little bit of a background, to get the colors pop a little bit more from the feathers. It's not the most beautiful pages I've ever done, but I thought it is a nice compromise for the pages, because I didn't want to doodle. So that was also one, I think after the first Europe page, this was the second page I've ever done in my live stream. And we also used pastel chalk and old colored pencils, semi-art watercolors, and metallic watercolors from Magic Fly, Giorgione, and some iridescent watercolors from the Kuretake Gansai Tambi, which are, I think, called opal colors, which I've used for the pearls. You can see they shine a little bit bluish and reddish in the light. And also I've done a combination of colored pencils and the metallic watercolors, because I didn't want to do all of the jewel parts in metallics, because when it is too much, it gets, you don't see the details anymore, and it gets, it looks simpler, and yeah, like some of the details Kerby draws on, you will lose them because they are opaque, and I didn't want that happening, so I thought I use a combination and doing parts of the things just with colored pencils, like here, this part, and doing some parts with metallics for, here, example, the upper part. And I like how it turned out. I like this combination type of thing with the metallics. And this is my current ongoing project. It's another of those pattern sites. So there were some of the stripes with the patterns, and I've based it now with semi-art watercolors in black and in orange. I have one stream so far on it, so I've just done the base layer with black and orange, and then we will start going on top. And I thought, because of the filling in the stripes with the patterns sentence, that I try to use some of my new oil pastels for the background, because we can hopefully lose the words here with it. So maybe some kind of a greenish background. Yeah, hope it will turn out well in the end. I've only used oil pastels one time so far in one of my Chinese coloring books. You will see that when we are going to view the Chinese books. So that was, I think, the first and only double page spread I've ever done in one of those big coloring books. So far, it is an older page. I've done it with the 120 wax-based Birchfuna ones with the black barrel. Nearly used up all of the white pen for the buildings. I wanted to do a limited color palette here as well. And yeah, I've done the background with watercolors. And as you can see, I'm not satisfied with the result. We have not a nice, it doesn't go from one color to the next very nice. We have harder borders. It is stripy and splotchy, and it is an old page. And I've learned that when I'm working with ox gall in my water, then it will stay wet longer, and also gain some techniques where you can do it part by part to blend in areas better. And yeah, so that's old. Maybe sometime in the future I go over it with some oil pastels also, that it looks better, but at the moment I don't want to. But yeah, definitely have gotten better now. We have the problem that here in our house the humidity is super dry because we have a very old, a few hundred years old, half timbered house. The walls are made of clay, and yeah, you never get any mold in a house like that, but it is super dry and it dries way faster than you can ever color. So that is a problem. I had to achieve some techniques how to work around that. So at that time I hadn't achieved that. So yeah, it has gotten better. So this was my first page done in the book, my testing page, and that's the same like in all the answers. The motive, that's from the names side. So yeah, I've done this in more realistic colors, not those absurd colors. And that's the name side. I've done a few months ago, 2, 3, 4, I'm not quite sure, 2 months or so. And I've seen on another colorist using those color combination on a page with a witch, and I thought the color combination is so beautiful, and I thought I don't want to do every character with its own color like here, because I've done it here already. So I thought I used this color palette. And yeah, I like how it turned out. It's not the best page, but it's okay. I like definitely the color combination. I will try to use it in the future again. It's old colored pencils. I had to use some additional because this green yellow color I didn't have. I'm not quite sure what I used, but the rest is with old colored pencils, pastel chalk, and base as always, semi-art watercolors. Then the illustrated by, I thought the mechanical parts will be like gold and steel or something, not as colorful. And again, on the nature side, I will do more colored version. And it's like always, so far, old colored pencils and semi-art watercolors. When we will books, then we definitely get also more other medias or other brands I've used for the colored pencils so far. But in these very old pages, which are mostly from the beginning of my adult coloring last year, I haven't had so many pencils. So yeah, that's why we have this a lot. This is also one of the first pages. I think I've done this page after I've done the test page, and that's why I think it's a snow leopard, looks super terrible. There's no shading in it, no fur done in it, or not a lot. And yeah, semi-art watercolors, old colored pencils. And this was my testing page for using pastel chalk. I think that was the first ever page I've used the pastel chalk in it. Yeah, it's from May 23. I've written it down here. So very old page. Okay, last artist for today will be Johanna Basford. And I have a lot of her books. I think we will start with my first ever coloring book. This was bought in 2016, I think. At the time, I've gave birth to my second child, and I have had a newborn and a 2-year-old, and I hadn't had the opportunity to draw myself because I already have a little tremor in my hands, and it is hard as it is to draw outlines. And if you have a baby in your arm or a 2-year-old shaking your table or on you, then it will get even harder. And I've ruined so many drawings I've done, and then I was frustrated, and then I thought, okay, maybe just buy a coloring book and do some easy coloring. At the time, I didn't know that there is a big community from adult coloring. I've only worked with the very old polychromos set I had, and I didn't know that you can do so beautiful things with colored pencils. So there are a lot of old pages in here, just colored one area with one color, no shading, no layering at all. So yeah, just so you know, the pages are really, really old. I've only done a few pages in this and one or two other easy books I had at the time, and then I stopped because I pressed super hard on colored pencils and my hand hurt like hell after a few minutes, and yeah, I just couldn't enjoy the coloring at the time. I didn't try to get better with pressing not so hard. I was just very frustrated, so the books lay until 2023. So between the few pages from 2016 to 2023, I haven't done any adult coloring at all. So yeah, that's why I have a lot of books, but a lot of untouched books. So this is one of the old pages, like I said, no shading at all. And if I come closer, you see that I've not even layered it so that you have no white area. So as you can see, it is not done very well. I do like the color combination, but yeah, it is not a good page from my standards now. So yeah, that's an old page from 2016. Yeah, this page, boy, drove me mad. I started it 2016 and I think finished it somewhere end of last year, not quite sure. But because I started this 2016, I had to do it in the same style, so just using random colors for different of those circles, and the in-between is just filled with a black. It's all colored pencil. From polychromos to my old colored pencils to some of the newer I've bought, like the metallics from the Fruitfulness set. It's a total mix of brands, and it's just, like I said, colored in the same style. I've done just one area with one color, but boy, was I happy when I finished it. I really don't want to ever do this page again. It's, phew, that's really, I do like ocean and underwater scenes, but in this book there are so many pages with so many super, super, super tiny details. I have no clue how to do it well. So yeah, this will be pages which will be really, really hard to do a nice one, because how do you shade in so small areas? I have no clue. So yeah, that is one, and that is one from I think 2023, where this is the other page, like the Venetian mask, where I first tried out some limited color palette. And I like the color palette still. I don't like wallpaper pages a lot, so that's what was the reason why I thought I will try a limited color palette. It's a good test page because I don't like wallpaper pages so much. But I think it turned out quite nice. I've used semi-art watercolors for the background and the base, and gone over top of it with the art colored pencils and some red metallic watercolor from Giorgione, which is not as shiny. The Giorgione ones are a little bit more subtle than other brands. So this is also one of the pages from 2016. I've only finished the yellow border part last year, but the rest is old. But I do like the colors I have chosen. I think that's a nice one. But yeah, the rest is not very good. Those I've done also, I think, yeah, it is August and September 2023. It was a month in between, and I didn't look up in my book, so I've used 2 different golds, and the one here is super bright and shiny, and this one is not. So I'm a little bit mad at myself that I didn't look it up, so that I did use the wrong color for the second page. And the rest is also based with semi-art watercolors and old colored pencils. And here we have Giorgione metallic watercolor, and here we have the Magic Fly watercolors. And if hopefully you can see it a little bit, it's a little bit duller, not as shiny, and a little bit a darker gold. And this one, you can see it is super shiny, and it is a more yellow gold. I also have used some coppery and darker gold here for the images. Yeah. And those 2 are from 2016. The reason why I have this white border here is because only when I started pressing real hard on the pages so that it gets flat, it started to flatten out here as well. But in 2016 I didn't do this, and I had this hard edge here which just wouldn't fold over. So yeah, that's why it is white in here. Maybe one day I will finish it, but yeah, that's also from 2016. So those are all polychromos. So yeah, all the pages in my Fantastical Ocean. That's the German version. I have two books as an English version, and I have done a video about it. If you have the chance to buy the German versions, I can highly recommend it. The paper is so much better than in the English versions. I will show you when we come to the English versions I have. First, I have the little Wonder Worlds. I'm not quite sure how the English title is. That's the German translation of the... Do they have it here? Small Victories, yeah. It's a completely different title. Don't know why German titles tend to translate to something completely different. So, Small Victories, and the German title is Little Wonder Worlds. Yeah, there you have it. I haven't done a page in it so far, but I want to tackle it soon because there are a lot of small images, and you can just color one of those and have the feeling to have finished not a page, but a complete image at least. So yeah, like the title says, Small Victories, which is nice for me because depending on how long you're watching, you know that I'm Chronicle 6 and I'm not even 40, but I'm completely pensioned already. And because of my chronicle sickness stuff, I often have days where I can't sit and I'm on bed rest and can't do anything. So to at least finish one of those small images in here will be feeling good for me. At least have the feeling I have done and achieved something, which is a lot harder with her bigger books or the big Kerby books, for example. So yeah, I definitely want to color something in here soon. I may want to buy a second copy of it from the German version before you can't buy it anymore, because some of the books you can't easily get the German versions anymore, which is sad. For example, the original version from the garden book. I have the 10th anniversary book because I couldn't got the original German version anymore. And sadly, the anniversary book have a very similar paper to the English books. If you're looking at the color, you see that this is more a natural white and this is a super shiny bleached white. That's normal how the German books are. And the German books have a very nice tooth. So watercolors layers like a dream on it. Colored pencils layer like a dream on it. And the English versions and this anniversary version is very, very, very smooth. This is not as bad as the English version, but on the English versions I had the problem that I have to layer watercolors 3 to 4 times to gain the same result as in a German version, for example. Because I had white splotches all over it. It didn't cover because the color just won't stick very well on the super smooth paper. And also when you go on it with harder colored pencils, the color sometimes get 50% lighter than it would go on other papers, which also can result that because of the darker paper, lighter colors will sometimes look a little bit different on the paper, if that is something which upsets you. But also, you have to work a lot harder with colored pencils on the paper. So yeah, I was sad that I didn't get that this German version, the anniversary version, now also has the same paper as the English versions, because I thought in the beginning, I don't care if the title is in English or in German. I mean, it doesn't change the images. The images are the same, but the paper is so different. And I've done pages in here already. That's in this English version. That's why I know that the paper behaves so much worse than in the German versions. The paper is just... I started with the semi-art watercolors. Like I said, I have to go over it like 3 to 4 times to get to that point. And then I started on some of those with some colored pencils, my old colored pencils, which are, because they are 30 years old, they are super hard. And you just didn't see anything that I did anything at all. It doesn't look very different. So I thought, okay, no, I won't go over all of it with the colored pencils when I just don't see most of it. So I saved myself the work. Same was here. I did also use the semi-art watercolors and the old colored pencils. So I definitely will, on the English versions, probably work more with the wax-based brute funes or something similar, softer, probably, or hopefully will work better. I mean, I would love to have a set of Prismacolors, but they are so expensive in Germany. I've seen so many people, Americans, buying it on Amazon US on sale for $100. And I've thought, okay, they are so expensive in Germany. Like I pay for the same set, the 150 set, not $100. The last time I checked, it was $400. So yeah, never gonna spend $400 on the Prismacolors. So I thought, okay, maybe I just order them on Amazon US and let them ship to my home. It will still be cheaper, but the problem is the sellers on Amazon US selling the 150 set don't ship to Germany. So yeah, probably never will get to some Prismacolors. So yeah, we'll have to look which pencils work better, but I think harder pencils are really, really not nice. I do like the result, but it would have been a lot better if I had pencils which worked better on the paper. I mean, a lot of, like here, the leaves for in this area, you don't see any shading, but I used 3 or 4 different colors of green. It just looks the same. And that is something which I had a lot of problems on in this paper, with this paper. I mean, so yeah. That's why when she's releasing new books, I wait until the German version is released. Sometimes they release the German versions a little bit later than the English version, but I rather wait and have the better quality paper. The thickness is the same. They are both good thick papers, but yeah. So that's the flower book. I haven't done a page in here so far. Then I have the Jungle book, also in the German version. That was very hard to get. I don't think you can get it anymore in German. I'm not good at finding it, but on Amazon Germany and bigger German bookshops, they are only offering the English version nowadays. So yeah, that's why I want to get really good before I start working on it. Because if I ruin it, I have to deal with the English paper. That's also the reason I haven't worked so far in this one. You can still get it. I'm really thinking about buying a second copy of this and maybe Words of Wonder and Secret Rooms, just to have one of the ones I love a lot, this and the Small Victories ones. So that I have a second copy for the future if some of the images I want to color a second time with the better quality paper, because you never know when they ran out of stock with the German versions, and you don't know if they reprint it and if you get a good paper, or like the anniversary edition with the bad paper. This is the second English copy I have. The reason why I've bought the English copies is they are much cheaper, even in Germany, as the German version. And that's why I thought, why spending a lot of more money on the German version. But yeah, then I realized the paper is super different. I thought the paper would be the same. So yeah, I rather spend a few euros more and get a better quality paper, because if I every time I'm coloring it unnerved and mad at the paper, then a few euros more are really, really, really worth it. And the Words of Wonder and the Secret Room are definitely especially the Secret Room, that's my most favorite of her books. And yeah, I think this is those 2 pages are one of the most beautiful pages. I really, really love them. And that are pages I definitely would color a second time. There are so many things in here I like shelves with stuff and those yeah, like the page I've showed with the glasses. I like glasses with filled jars with some stuff I love, planets or nice rooms and like underwater stuff. And I like when you have this separated little areas. I know it is a double page spread, but you could also do just one of the parts and have the feeling you have achieved at least a drawing. And like I said, I don't work because of my sickness situation, but I still are very, very limited in my time. a lot of times I just can't sit because of so much pain, and yeah, then I can't do anything, and that's the reason why smaller images are very helpful for times like that when I have bad months. For example, I think it was May and June, which was the worst month ever. Like 50% of the month I was on bed rest, and yeah, that really was not good. So that's also done. That was like the Europe, I mentioned it, that I had in Johanna Basford, also done with the Art Eco watercolors, a test if I can work in it. And after the Lost Ocean, the Secret Rooms was the first one I've bought from her, because I was the most interested in here. And yes, I haven't colored in it so far because I didn't want to ruin the pages. Like I said, I wanted to get better, but now I'm better with the colored pencils. I definitely want to tackle it now in the near future. So yeah, I hope it was interesting to watch. I would absolutely love to hear which of these artists you like, and which are your favorite books, or which pages you have done or like or want to do soon, or other artists or books I should check out, which are some of your favorites. I'm always interested in finding new books or new artists which I don't know so far. There's so many beautiful books out there. So yeah, that was the first part. There will be a lot of parts more, because I've really gathered a lot in the last 2 years on books. And yeah, I hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And if you don't want to miss the next parts of this series or of my other videos, then consider maybe leave a follow or a thumbs up. That really helps me in the channel. So thank you so much for that. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.